So I'll be speaking, like I said earlier, I'll be speaking on the blueprints for securing study opportunities abroad. So the way I've actually structured this particular session to deliver it, I'll be looking at it from three broad categories. So first, I'll be considering it from the United Kingdom perspective, and then I'll be looking at it from the United States of America perspective, and then I'll be covering Europe at large as much as I can, so as to give us that broad perspective and broad reach in terms of opportunities that are available to us there and how to actually access these opportunities or maximize these opportunities. Basically, this session is to open our minds to information about these categories I've spoken about, these areas around the world for study opportunities for those of us who actually are interested in this study opportunity. All right. So basically the outline, just as I mentioned of before, is the fact that we'll be talking about accessing study opportunities in the United Kingdom, study opportunities in the United States of America, accessing study opportunities also in the Europe, and then I'll be giving my final thoughts, and we can then go on to the Q&A if there are any specific questions that we want to ask. All right, so now let's basically talk about the UK educational system. I'll start first by introducing the UK educational system, and then when I also get to the United States, I will also introduce the United States educational system, giving us a bit of understanding on what to expect, what it actually entails, and the kind of opportunities that are available to us kind of in these particular regions that we find ourselves. So first is that the UK undergraduate program, I don't know if there are undergraduate people here or people that might be thinking of coming through the undergraduate route. So I'll be speaking also covering undergraduate, graduate route as much as possible, because I've heard a lot of people who have actually done a first degree who still decide to go on to do another first degree in a more different kind of discipline in order to be able to give them that opportunity that they desire in terms of future career pursuit. So for the UK, the undergraduate program is 3 years. So most of the things I'll be saying here are things that some of us are aware of, but basically to give us that extra knowledge or that extra push as to opportunities that are available beyond this. So for undergraduate program, it's 3 years, unlike what is obtainable back in our country, which is 4 years. So it gives you that opportunity of more like a 1 year step ahead. And then for the graduate program, there's the master's degree program, which runs for a period of 1 to 2 years. So basically, most of the master's degree are usually 1 year. Even research degree, master by research, are usually 1 year. Why there are some that are 2 years, depending on what kind of course you are looking at. For example, if you are looking at health-related course like nursing, mental health nursing, those graduate programs are usually 2 years and not 1 year. So master's degree programs are usually between 1 to 2 years. Then for doctoral program, we have 3 to 4 years for full-time program or 6 to 7 years for part-time program. Okay, so depending on the nature of the program that you are looking at, it can either be 3 to 4 years for a full-time degree program for a doctoral research, or 6 to 7 years for a part-time program for a doctoral research. And then for the way the semester is structured is actually a dual semester structure. Okay, is the dual semester structure, but this dual semester is broken down into 3 terms. Sorry. It's broken down into 3 terms. It's 2 semesters, but broken down into 3 terms. So for term 1, we have the September to December term, which actually breaks out at that Christmas winter break. So we have September to December, which is term 1, which basically forms the entire scope of the first semester. It basically formed the entire scope of the first semester. Oftentimes, when they resume back from the Christmas break, what we usually do are exams, basically exams for the first semester. But that first term forms the basic part of the first semester. Therefore, term 2 is January to March. So this January to March, at the initial stage of January, most of the exams for the first semester, which is September to December, are actually concluded. And then the second semester starts, which actually ends or breaks at the Easter break, but semester 2 is still on. So semester 2 is basically a combination of term 2 and term 3, which runs from April to May, June, leading to the summer break. All right, so leading to the so it's a dual semester system. And the major admissions period for the United Kingdom, the major admissions period are the fall intake and the winter intake. So the fall intake, September, October. So if you are thinking of applying to schools in the United Kingdom, the fall intake is a major admission intake where you have a broad range of courses that they admit students in that particular period, September, October. And then you have the winter intake, which is January, February, which is also a major intake for the United Kingdom school system. However, there is the summer intake, which is a minor intake period, which is the May period. So what do you mean by minor intake period? It means that there are specific courses, very few courses that still admit students in the summer intake. That's the May period. So you have some courses still accepting students for May intake. All right, but the two major intake or the two major admission periods for the United Kingdom are the fall intake, September, October, and the winter intake, January, February. All right, so I'll move on to the next, which is actually a very important part. Now, remember, we are talking about blueprint for securing study opportunities. There are basic documentation that one needs to possess if you must secure these opportunities that we'll be discussing about later on in this particular discussion. So first thing is your international passport. So you need to have an international passport. I do say it and I keep saying it, that an international passport is a major requirement that you should have. All right, especially as a young graduate, okay, even as an undergraduate, if you can make an international passport, there are certain opportunities even as an undergraduate that might take you out of the country that you can access if you have an international passport. Then your degree certificate. Obviously, this does not actually concern for people that are going for another first degree, that is a bachelor's degree. But if you are going for a graduate program, you need to provide the degree certificate of the previous education you actually did, which is actually your first degree, your BSc. Or if you are going for, let's say you are going for a pre-masters, all right, you are going for a pre-masters and you did something like OND, HND, or a postgraduate diploma, when you are applying for that particular higher education, you will need to provide the degree certificate of that postgraduate diploma that you actually did. Then the degree transcript, which is also very important, giving a breakdown of all the courses that you've done all through that degree that you are presenting. Then your resume, this one is very key. You need to tailor it to be able to suit that particular course or that particular program that you are looking out for. A statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is where you actually outline your desire. Okay. Basically, how I explain statement of purpose in a very simple terms is you need to explain to them where you are coming from, where you are at the moment, and what you intend to do by the reason of this course you are applying for in the future. So that's basically in summary what a statement of purpose should cover: where you are coming from in terms of your background, your experience, the things that you've done that are relevant to the course that you're actually doing, or which may actually be motivation for the course you're actually doing, where you are currently. Okay, so what are you doing currently that also contributes or that actually necessitated you to start thinking of going for a higher form of education or trying to pursue more education? And then what you intend to do with this particular certificate or this particular degree that you are pursuing. And there's also another key part of the statement of purpose that you need to cover, which is actually talking about why the university. So to cover personal statements, for the statement of purpose, these three places: where you are coming from, where you are currently, and where you are going to. And then lastly, which is the fourth one, is why the university. So you need to outline why you've chosen this university to study this course amidst all other universities. So that university is not the only university that offers that course, but why have you chosen that university despite having other options? Okay, so those are the things that should be contained in your personal statement if you are going to produce a very strong personal statement that stands you out. Then letter of recommendation. Now, letter of recommendation, usually you need to have one academic letter of recommendation and one professional letter of recommendation. What do I mean by academic and what do I mean by professional? So academic letter of recommendation is a letter from someone who has taught you in your previous educational journey. All right. So if you are going for a graduate program, say a master's degree, all right, you need to provide a letter of recommendation from an academic who has taught you in your first degree, in your bachelor's degree. Okay. And also you need to get a professional reference, which to a large extent is known as character reference from your employer or a place where you've actually worked, for someone who can attest to your character, your work ethics. Okay, this is usually very important, especially if you are going for research courses. They need to ascertain, aside from knowing what to do or how to carry out research, they need to ascertain if you actually have certain qualities, certain criteria that stands you out as a research student. Because one thing about research is you have to be independent. You have to be someone who is independently motivated, someone who can actually manage themselves. So someone needs to speak to your work ethics, and this is actually where the professional letter of recommendation comes into play, where that person actually speaks to your professional conduct. So letter of recommendation, do not forget, 2 letters. I always tell people, whenever you are graduating out of school, do not burn the bridge. Okay, you might need those people. Don't burn the bridge. Your tutors that taught you in your first degree, to a large extent, I'm not saying you should go and make friends, like you should now go and become paddy or with them, but you should be able to keep in contact with them. You should be able to keep in contact with them. My master's degree research wouldn't have been successful up to the point of getting a distinction in it if I was not keeping in touch with my lecturers in the University of Benin. Okay, so I left University of Benin in 2016, did my master's degree research in 2023. All right, that is about like 7 years later. And I needed 10 participants in my semi-structured interview for my research. To interview 10, out of those 10, I needed to research 5 top-level academics in my field in the whole of Africa, particularly Nigeria. All right, I needed those people, and I was able to get, out of those 5, I was able to get 3 within my department who are actually professors, and then those 3 professors have to snowball me, that is, have to refer me to other 2 professors, one from the University of Lagos and another one from Olabisi Onabanjo University. So you see how important it was, because these are the sample size, that is kind of people I need for my research semi-structured interview. Now, what if I was not keeping in touch? What if I had not been keeping in touch with them? I didn't know that in 2023 I will be doing a research that would require the service or require me to recruit top level academics in my field back in Africa or back in Nigeria. Okay, so it is very important when you are leaving. These are also tips that would help. I will tell you why as we go on to look at in more details how to source for these opportunities. I'll tell you why it is important. And then a research proposal. Now, a research proposal for research courses like Masters by Research, that's what I mean by MRes, and a PhD program. If you are going for a Masters by Research program, let's say you want to come to the UK, because currently the United Kingdom have a law. All right, they've changed the law in 2023 that you cannot bring in dependents if you are coming for a normal master's. Let's say you are married. All right, before as at 2022, if you are coming for a master's, an MSc, a normal thought master's, you can come with your husband, you can come with your children. Even if you have 10 children, you can come with all of them. All right, but 2023, the government actually reviewed that because of the high influx of immigrants into the country. So they reviewed that and said it is only if you are doing a research program, that is either a master's by research or a PhD program, that's when you are qualified to come with a dependent. Okay, so a master's by research program is also a 1-year master's program, but it's not a thought master's, it's a research master's by research. So it is more tedious, more demanding, or it requires loads of skills and more effort. So one of the documents you need to provide when you're applying for an MRes, just in case you are here and you are thinking of relocating to the UK through the study route and you have a family, this is actually the way. It's either you go by a master's by research or you do a PhD. And one of the documentation you must provide for the application process is a research proposal. okay, a research proposal. If you, I can share you samples of research proposal just in case you are thinking of this idea or you are thinking in line of this. I can share you samples of research proposal that will help you. And if you are also here, you have a master's already, but you want to pursue a PhD, okay, you can get fully funded PhD program, which I'll be showing you how to do that later on in this particular talk. How to get fully funded PhD program even while you are outside of the UK. There are loads of fully funded PhD program that you can actually gain access to, all right, that can get you into the country for you to study for a PhD program for free. Then lastly, English proficiency. So your WAEC, your NECO, and IELTS. So for your English proficiency, you just need to have a minimum of C5 to C6 in your WAEC or NECO. So if you have a minimum of C5 to C6, you don't need to write any IELTS. But currently, there are news flying around. There is actually a bit of debate about this in trying to cut down on immigration. So we don't know yet. It has not yet been signed into law, but there's every possibility that this might change such that if you are going to apply for any study route, you must write IELTS. Before now, it's not compulsory. All right, you don't have to write IELTS for you to come in. You only just need a C5, a minimum of C5, C6 in your WAEC, and then you are good to go to apply. But with what is coming up now as all of the measures to cut down on immigration, this may likely change such that you are now expected to write IELTS, okay? But in any case, it's actually something that you can write, you can read for, and you can sit for and pass in one sitting. Okay, so these are the basic documentations that you need. So just in case you are thinking of applying, you can start getting these documentations ready for your application. Okay, so now, how do I assess study opportunities in the UK? Okay, how do I assess study opportunities in the UK? Now, there are two different pathways that you can actually assess study opportunities in the UK. The first one is a self-funding pathway. Self-funding pathway simply means you have the money and you want to fund yourself. All right. Trust me, the United Kingdom, universities in the United Kingdom, they need your money. As long as you are able to fulfill the requirements, provide the necessary documentation, and you are able to prove that you can provide all of this documentation at the point of application, those documentation I listed in the previous slide, there is every guarantee you get your admission and you can proceed with your visa application. So self-funding is, will I say, the easiest and is actually the fastest way. So if you have your money, self-funding is a very legit, fast and easy route for you to access the United Kingdom. Okay. However, not every one of us, not everybody have the money, because currently average cost in the United Kingdom for a master's, third master's program is about at least £11,000. And if you are converting that into our naira, it is over 23 million naira just for school fees. All right, 23 million naira just for school fees. We've not talked about things around flight ticket, visa application. We've not talked about things around accommodation, all of those other stuff. Although yes, these schools allow you to pay this money in installments, so you are not expected to pay that 11 million naira all at once, but it is still not as easy as it sounds. Okay, so the next one is actually the part that we may all want to now start looking at, which is the scholarship pathway. Now, I chose to divide the scholarship pathway into 3 segments because this is actually how it's obtainable in the UK, which is actually different in the US and Europe, which we'll be looking at later on. So for the first one is securing scholarship funding from external or affiliate bodies, okay, such as Chevening. So most of us must have heard about the Chevening scholarship. So Chevening is not a university that offers it. Chevening is an affiliate body that affiliates with universities in the UK, right? Such that you are able to get that you are able to get that scholarship, and then you are able to attend these universities. Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is also another one. Rhodes Scholarship is also there. Erasmus Mundus scholarship is also there. There's also the NDDC for those of us in Nigeria who are from the Niger Delta region of Nigeria. All right, the NDDC scholarship is also another one that will pay you good stipend and bring you down to the UK. However, I do say, however, you need to check very well that you agree with their terms and conditions. For example, Chevening, you are actually expected to return back to your home country after your studies. So if your goal is actually to relocate or to come study and remain here to live in the UK, the Chevening scholarship will not be your best option. Neither Commonwealth Share Scholarship also, except so you need to read their terms and conditions, and you must abide by their terms. Okay, you must be ready to actually abide by their terms and conditions. So please do well to read and be sure that, okay, this is actually what I want. So if what you want is to come study and go back, okay, that's fine. You can actually start looking at this again. These are areas or aspects that you want to look at, and I'm more than happy to help out with in terms of providing guidance, in terms of personal statements and all of that for these particular scholarships, or linking you up to current scholars, people who I know that are actually beneficiaries of this particular scholarship, to guide you. So how do I assess this scholarship, this external body or affiliate bodies? Look at website like opportunitydex.org. Look at website like myschool.ng. These websites offers you information about when the scholarship are opening and when they are actually closing. I think for Chevening scholarship usually opens, say, around July and ends around November every year. So you need to check it and plan ahead on all of this. Rhodes scholarship has a very strict age limit. I think if you are more than 25, you can't actually apply for Rhodes scholarship. Yeah, if you are more than 25 of age, you can't apply for Rhodes scholarship. Then the second one I want to speak about, now that's for the external or affiliate body. The second one I want to speak about is percentage discounts, and I'll be showing us example in my next slide. I think percentage discount simply means that you apply for a particular scholarship, you apply for a particular school, and based on your class of degree, you are giving some percentage off your tuition fee. Okay, based on your class of degree, you are giving some percentage off your tuition fee, or there are some little scholarship, pockets of scholarship within the university that can offer you percentage discount. So they have different names depending on the university that you are applying to. So one thing I would advise you to do also is, whenever you want to apply to a particular university, check for the areas that is titled funding and fees and funding opportunities. You will see loads of bursaries, percentage discount opportunities within the university. So these percentage discounts are things that the university offers. So let me say this: hardly, if not impossible, would you see a UK university grant you fully funded opportunity or erase your school fees entirely. It is impossible, except you get an award from any of these external or affiliate bodies like Chevening, Commonwealth Shared, Rhodes Scholarship, NDDC. All right, that's the only way you can get a fully funded. But you say the school giving you a totally free tuition, it is very impossible, highly impossible. You can't even find it on the website. What you see at best are percentage discount, things like 3,000. Let's say your school fees is £13,000. They take away £3,000 school fee waiver and tell you to pay £10,000. They take away £5,000 and tell you to pay £8,000. Those are the kind of things that you see as percentage discounts within the school that the school actually offers or that the school actually provides. Okay, let's use myself as an example. When I applied for my course, I was to pay £13,900, but I got a discount or a waiver of £3,900, and I ended up paying £10,000 for my MSc. Okay, so yeah, I did the self-funding for MSc, but currently I'm on a PhD program that is totally fully funded. All right, so I'll be showing us how to get that opportunity too. If you want to get a totally fully funded PhD program, and there are even some fully funded PhD program that you get, and you get a teaching assistant role on the side of it, such that you are teaching and you are being paid a stipend every month. So basically, you are studying for free and you are getting stipend every month for contributing to teaching and other activities within the department. Now, which is the third one I'm going to talk about, the fully funded, mainly for research courses, fully funded. Now, if you are with a pen, a paper, please jot down these two websites, jobs.ac.uk, findaphd.com. So these are two major websites where you see fully funded PhD opportunities or research programs. Okay. If you want to come into the UK, jobs.ac.uk, findaphd.com. And if you're also here, you're an academic, okay, you are somebody who is in the academic field, or let's say you are a graduate assistant or a lecturer in the university, or you are even a secondary school teacher who wishes to transit into higher education, okay, and you have all the qualifications, you have a master's degree, you can look at this jobs.ac.uk. You can get academic job fellowships. You can get a role as a research fellow in this website, loads of them, jobs.ac.uk, loads of them. As a research fellow, you can get as a research assistant, job opportunity. You can get different kind of job roles that are not even study roles. I don't know if that makes sense. So in this job.ac.uk, it's not just study roles alone. There are also job roles there. So if you are looking at transiting through a work route also from the academic point of view, from the academic field, jobs.ac.uk is also a good website for you to browse through. Findaphd.com. The difference between jobs.ac.uk and findaphd.com is that findaphd.com is solely for PhD programs. Jobs.ac.uk includes PhD program opportunities and job opportunities, okay? And job.ac.uk is strictly for the United Kingdom alone, okay? Just as the name of the website actually implied. Job.ac.uk is just for the UK alone, but findaphd.com, you can get PhD opportunities across the globe. So you can get PhD opportunities in Europe, being advertised in findaphd.com website. But for jobs.ac.uk, the opportunities that are advertised there are mainly for the UK. They are solely for the UK. All right. But findaphd.com, you can see opportunities in the US, opportunity in Canada, including in Australia, opportunity in Europe, being advertised in findaphd.com. So these are two websites you should keep very close if these actually are your prospect or things that you desire for. Now, let me speak on this particular slide because I am registered with an agency, all right, an agency who has their head office back in Nigeria, and they also have branch office here in the United Kingdom in Manchester. And I help students apply for admissions. Okay, it's called Envoy Educational Services. Okay, I help students apply for admissions and all of that, and these are just some of the materials I dug out from that agency to give us an oversight of for people that have HN, because so far I've been speaking basically for people that are BSc holders, but now if you have HND, it's in the UK, the options are very limited. So from this, you could see that universities that accept HND qualification are very few. Bangor University, they are just very few. And even at the point where you have it, it is not for all courses. It is not for all courses. So if you have an HND here, it's not the end of the road. There are ways. Please reach out. Let's discuss the option. And let's see, because you need to provide things like, okay, if you make a lower or upper credit, 3 years working experience in addition to it can cover for that. If you made upper credit, 3 years working, some of them can ask you for 5 years working experience. Some can ask for 3 years working experience, depending on what your qualification is like. But again, the options are very limited. Not all schools accept HND. Very few schools accept HND. And even the very few schools that accept HND, only very few courses within those schools actually accept HND. Then universities that accept third class qualification also are very limited. So what I always tell people, any young person I know for most of us here, this is the Senior Friends Forum, and most of us here have graduated already. So this may not actually be very important or useful to us, but anybody I see on campus is, gone are those days where we try to say what you come out with does not matter. Actually, it matters. In this part of the world, people always say that nobody's after your degree, nobody's after what you graduated with. It's not true. It's not true. Let me emphasize that. If you can make a first class, by all means do. All right, it is not scam for you to make a first class. It will open doors for you. Even if it does not open doors for you, it will give you a wide range of options. Just as we are seeing here, universities that accept third class are very, very limited. All right, they are very limited. Yes, in this part of the world, it's about what you can do even after you graduate, about what you can do. But to access their university in the first place, it's not just about what you can do, it's also about your certificate. Okay, it's not just about what you can do, it's about what you graduated with. It will help you access their universities in the first place. And then when you graduate out, getting into the job market, your certificate does not really matter as much. Not that it does not matter, it does not matter as much. It is now the skill that you can offer that now matters. But I just want to put this out there so you can take note of it. Probably you are in this category of people that have HND, or you have a test class. Again, it's not the end of the road, but the options are very limited. But again, like I said, we can always discuss and see what options that are available. And this third page there I put there for the whole London campus May intake 2025 is to show us an example of what I said about the percentage discount. If you can see it here, scholarship up to £3,000. Okay, so the school fees is £17,000 per year, and they are giving you tuition waiver of £3,000. So that's what we mean by the percentage discount. Is not usually much. So the self-funding aspect is usually a very difficult aspect to scale through. All right. So that's actually for the United Kingdom, to give us a brief overview of what is obtainable in the United Kingdom, how to access scholarship opportunities, and what are the options that are available to you, and how do you access them. And I'll be sharing my slide, obviously, but I hope we're actually taking note. Now, let's look at the United States. We'll be doing some comparison between the United Kingdom and the United States. So, graduate opportunity in the United States. So, basically, what is the journey like? Okay, the journey is, first, I would introduce us into the United States education system, and then I would speak about how to find universities and how to find programs, because the United States is very, will I use the word deep, very broad, very complex to navigate their graduate program compared to the United Kingdom. United Kingdom is very straightforward, very, so to a large extent, easy, but the United States of America is very complex. So if that's what you are thinking of, it's very complex, but we're looking at. So they have the pre-application period. What do you need to do for the pre-application period? Post-application period, what do you do? What do you need to do? And then when after decision has been made, you've gotten your offer and the visa application process, what also do you need to do? So these are the journey, the way I'm going to actually structure this part of the conversation. So talking about the United States education system. So first thing first is, unlike the UK education system, the US education system is 4 years bachelor's, and this is actually what we adopt back in Nigeria. Okay, and it's interesting, right? How the UK are the ones, the British are the ones that colonized us, but we are actually following the educational pattern of the US. It's just very confusing. But anyway, let's leave it at that. So yeah, the United Kingdom is 3 years bachelor's degree, but United States is 4 years bachelor's degree. And then for the graduate program is also almost similar, master's degree of 1 to 2 years, and then doctoral degree of 4 to 7 years, depending on whether you are doing a full-time program or a part-time program. It can extend up to 7 years maximum for part-time. For full-time, it can extend maximum of 4 years. Now, again, for the United States, unlike the United Kingdom, that is dual semester, for the United States, it is tri-semester. Now, it's important for us to know this so that we know when to apply, when to start looking for what to apply. Remember, we spoke also about the United Kingdom. That's why I brought up this semester stuff and major admission period for you to start thinking about, okay, when do I apply? All right, so as to plan yourself, prepare your document towards that time. So for the United States, we have 3 semesters, but for the United Kingdom, we have 2 semesters divided into 3 terms. Okay, so it is spring semester for the United States, January to May, summer semester, May to July, August, and then the fall semester, August to December. And for major admission periods, they are usually fall and spring. Okay, fall and spring. Remember, for United Kingdom, we have the 3. We have the winter, and we also have we have the winter, we have the summer, and we also we have 3. We have summer, winter period, which is actually September, October. We also have January, February intake, and then we have the minor intake, which is actually in May, which is 3. But for United States, we have just 2, April and October. So if you're thinking of going to the United States of America for a graduate program or to assess opportunities there, you need to start thinking about, okay, when do I intend to apply? Okay, it opens around October to April for the fall application. Spring application opens around June to October. So you need to target it and target this window. Now, this is very important, and which is something that is not obtainable in the United Kingdom, and most people are not aware. I have quite a number of my friends who are currently in the United States, and this was actually how they went there. You can apply for a PhD program directly with your bachelor's degree in the United States. All right, and I'll repeat that. You can apply for a PhD program directly. You can get a fully funded PhD program, either as a graduate assistant, graduate teaching assistant, all right, a research assistant, fully straight up from bachelor's. You don't need a master's degree. You can go straight up into a PhD. That is how the US operates. That's how flexible the US operates in that regard. But in the UK, it is a no-no. In the UK, for you to go for a PhD, you must have a master's. All right, but the US, you don't need a master's. So currently now you are just done with your first degree. Good news is you can move directly into a PhD program with your bachelor's in the United States, and there are loads of funding opportunities depending on your discipline. Okay, now let's talk about finding the universities and the program. How do I find in the United States? How do I find the university and the program? First, define your goals. So your academic interest must be very specific to your field of study and your research interest. You don't want to go so broad. You must be very specific. Your career aspirations, all right? The preferred environment. The United States is vast. Okay, you need to look at the prevent environment. Consider factors such as the location, the weather, and the city life. Even in the United Kingdom, the city also matters to a large extent, all right, especially if you are going for self-funding. You want a city where you don't need to spend too much, where accommodation is not much. City differs, the lifestyle and the demand from one city to another differs. All right, for example, here in the United Kingdom, you are living in London. You pay so much than somebody who is living in the northern part of England, say like Leeds or say like Hull. All right, those won't pay cheaper in terms of accommodation than somebody living in London and in the northern part of England. Okay, so you must understand all of these things: academic interests, career aspirations, and preferred environment. Then online search resources. Now you go to the university website. When you go to university website, you go to there is a place in the university website called graduate school. You go to the graduate school, and the department that you are looking at, that is the most reliable resource where you get the most of the information that you are looking at. All right, and then you need to also consider the US News ranking. Okay, the US News ranking tells you universities that are actually doing well and in what course they are doing well. Okay, so there are some schools that are actually doing well in a particular course and they rank so high in that particular course. The US News ranking, if you go on Google and you type US News ranking, you get that there, or this particular link that you have there. And the QS USA ranking also, all the links are there. I can share them with you. You can go on there and you can, I use this example from somebody who is actually looking at pursuing something in physics. All right, physics. You can see loads of top universities there, and what they actually offers. And then the grad school shopper. So there's a website called the grad school shopper. The link is also attached there. These are places where you can search for the schools and the program that you are looking at. Then after you've done your search, remember, you define your goal, you've done your search, you've outlined the number of schools that actually fit your goal that you've defined, then evaluate the program. So looking at the admission requirements, the faculty expertise and research options that are available there, research facilities and funding opportunities, they are usually stated there for US schools. If the department offers funding opportunities, they state it there. If they don't, they state it there also that they don't grant funding opportunities. So it is expected and it is advisable that you start at least 1 year in advance. So this requires loads of work. Start 1 year in advance. Remember, we've considered the admission period. So you need to plan yourself. You need to plan ahead in making all of these things happen, or making all of these things possible. All right, so again, I put this particular slide up to show you the different locations in the UK and in the US that you can actually get. So look at it, look at what is obtainable in the city. Part of grad school application or application to the US or the UK, you must know what is happening in that city. You must know opportunities that are resident, that are available within that city. Don't just apply. You must because one thing we must understand is these universities are usually embedded in the city life or the city culture. So you need to understand what is happening in the city for you to be able to get the best out of the university located in the city. Now, if we search together, you look at the US news rank, US news, QS ranking, the grad school, the university graduate website, and the department website. Can you see the breakdown? So this is the sequence you follow: US news, QS ranking, grad school. So on the website, after identifying the school, grad school, when you use the grad school search options, you look at the university graduate school website, and then the department website, which is actually where you get more specific information specific to the course that you're actually looking for. Now let's talk about study for free in North America, either the US or Canada. You can study for free in either the US or Canada. Like I said, there are more funding opportunities for the US, Canada, North America than there are in the UK, just as we've looked at in the United Kingdom. First is graduate teaching assistant, GTA position. Yeah, so this GTA position, I know a friend of mine who left Nigeria in 2020 for a graduate teaching assistant masters, like masters on a master's degree, free of charge. So you have access. What you do is that you assist faculties with undergraduate courses. You teach, so it's more like a teaching assistant role. You lead discussion session, undergraduate laboratory session, tutorials. You grade assignments and exams. You lecture undergraduate courses. So you are studying. Your school fees is covered, and then you carry out all these responsibilities, and you are paid a stipend every month. Okay, that's the graduate teaching assistant. Therefore, the graduate research assistant, your responsibility is different from graduate teaching assistant. You assist faculties with research projects, so you must have good research skills. So if your research skill is not so good, start working on it now. You must be able to collect data and analyze data, conduct experiments and simulations, write and edit research papers. So that's for the graduate research assistant. These are the responsibilities that you have. And what are some of the benefits of either being a GTA, GRE, or a GA? Number one, tuition waiver. So total tuition waiver, you don't pay anything. Health insurance is covered. Monthly stipend for living expenses is provided. Okay, so how do you apply? Most graduate applications ask if you would like to be considered for this. That's the interesting thing about the US. That's not there in the UK. So when you go to the department website and you want to apply for a particular program, either master's or PhD or whatsoever, there is a place there in the application process where they ask you, are you interested to be considered for a GTA or a GRA? They will ask you. And if you say yes, they will now go further to ask you some other things for you to submit some other documentations in order for them to be able to consider you for this role. So there's loads of funding. Don't be bothered about what the big man Trump is doing currently. He's currently cutting down a lot of affecting loads of universities and all of that. But don't be bothered about that. The US have loads of funding for graduate programs. Some departments have separate applications for GTA and GRA. So for some, they will ask you if you want to be considered. For some, there's a separate application you need to go through to apply. After you've applied for admission, you now apply separately for the GTA position if you want it. So you need to check and ask. Again, another thing I advise people when you, especially for the US, or if you're applying to the UK and it's for a PhD program, one of the things I did when I was applying for my PhD funding, PhD opportunity, is the fact that whenever I see an advert of a PhD opportunity, I email the supervisors that have been put in there. Their emails are always there. You can email them and say, please, I would like to know more about this particular project. Can you tell me more about it? Some of them were benevolent enough to say, okay, can we fix a Teams call or a Zoom call? And they have a Zoom call. You ask all your questions. It gives you an idea on how to package your application very well. So you can also do that. Email the graduate coordinator. Their emails are always on the website. Email the graduate coordinator to ask questions about funding, about how to go about the funding, and they would be more than happy to respond. They respond. All right, it's not something to be scared about to write to them. You should write to them. I'll just go so fast. So general graduate school admission requirements, international passport, very important. Then academic qualification, bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. You need both your transcript and degree certificate, very important. So get your transcript, get your degree certificate. Don't leave them till die minute before you start thinking of getting them. So for transcript, most universities require a 3.0, 4.0, because the US operate on the 4.0 scale, the UK operates also on the 5.0 scale. So some schools require CGPA of greater than 3.0, while some accept less than 3.0. So check the website. It differs from one school to another. And then there's something called transcript evaluation, WES evaluation, and all of that. Check, the school will tell you if you actually need to evaluate your transcript. You take it through that evaluation process. It actually comes with some cost. Okay, you have to pay money for the evaluation. The reason why they evaluate it is because we are coming from different world, different academic experience. So they need to be sure that what you did in your undergraduate that you are using to pursue a graduate program is actually up to standard by their own requirements. Then you need your resume or your CV, and then statement of purpose. I've spoken about this before. Letters of recommendation, 2 to 3 letters, academic and professional, not different from the United Kingdom. And then one thing that is different from the United Kingdom is standardized test score. You need to write a GRE or a GMAT. Yeah, you don't need GRE, GMAT in the UK, but in the US it is very important. TOEFL, all right. In the UK, you need more of IELTS, TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, and all of that. Okay, but there are also waiver options. There are waiver options, so you need to do your research. Look at the website. Very important. Read through the graduate website. What's the requirement, and then you go on to apply. Graduate school online application portal. For the US, one thing I failed to mention in the UK is that UK, when you are applying, you don't need to pay application fee. It is free. Okay, it is free when you are applying to schools on their website. You don't pay application fee. But the US, you pay application fee. You pay application fee. All right, and it can be expensive. It can be up to $55, $50, $60, as the case may be, for each of the application you put in. So you also need to be prepared for that also. Pre-application period. My time is up. I'll just rush through. What you need to do: search for the schools, make a list of your identified schools or program. After you search for school, make a list of what you've identified that suits you, and then look at send inquiry email to the graduate coordinator. Send inquiry emails to them. Like I said, don't be scared to send them emails. Send them email, all right, asking them questions on what you want to ask about. Then send introductory emails to potential supervisors. Now, this is what we call a cold email. We call it a cold email. You send it to potential supervisors, because part of the things that the US application process will make you do is to secure a supervisor. Get a supervisor. You need a supervisor. The UK, when you are applying for a research program, you don't need to contact a supervisor that much. Not all schools will ask you to contact a supervisor. But for the US, you need to contact the supervisor. You need to send a cold email explaining yourself, your research background, your experience, your previous educational background, explaining that. If you also need a template of a cold email, I have some templates of cold emails that I sent when I was applying to US schools. Then get volunteering experience. It will help your application. Yes, volunteering experience helps your application. And save towards application fee. This one is the major part. Like I said, US require application fee, save towards it. And then post application period, what you need to do is, the decision comes through December through March for fall, spring, December through November. So you need to wait. You need to be patient. You need to have faith in God and pray. Yes, we know this is actually, we don't joke with prayer here. Prayer is very important. And you can also send follow-up emails to graduate coordinators, send courtesy emails to potential supervisors and supervisor advisors. So let's say Thanksgiving holiday, you can send them email just to, you want to win their hearts. All right, you want to win their heart, and you want them to see you as a research student that they can actually supervise, and you are warm and you are welcoming. Check application portal regularly for updates. Now I'll just run through I need to be done by in the next 4 minutes, so that we can take questions for the next 10 minutes, and then I'll be out of your way. Graduate education in Europe. So for Europe, this is actually another aspect that people do not really consider. What are the popular destinations? What are transcript evaluation process? Very important. Like I said, we have two different experiences in terms of educational experience. So they need to evaluate your transcript to be sure that it's up to standard to what they are receiving. Country specifics and the funding. What are the country specific and the funding? So I will take us through different countries across Europe, and then we'll see what is available. Like I said, I'll make my slides available so you can look at it. And if you have any further questions, please do well to reach out. Now, what are popular destinations in Europe that you can look at? Most countries have English taught programs, even though they are not English-speaking nations. German, Netherlands, Sweden, France, Norway, Finland, Italy. All right, these are countries within Europe that offers funding opportunities that we are not even aware of. No tuition fee at public unis. For Germany, there is this DART scholarship. You can also want to check out for DART scholarship. Netherlands have English taught courses, and there's the Holland scholarship for international students. Sweden usually give tuition waivers, and there's the Swedish Institute funding. You can Google all of these things, put all of these things on Google, and you will see more information on it. Time will not allow me to talk about them in details. France offer low tuition fee and the EFL Excellence Scholarship. Norway, no tuition fees, high cost of living though. Okay, there is no tuition fee in Norway, but there's high cost of living. Finland, scholarship by universities. Finland is a good destination to look at also within Europe. There are loads and loads. Remember, you can agree with me that Finland has one of the best educational systems in the world. So it's something you need to look out for. Scholarships in Italy and fellowship opportunities are also available in Italy. If it's a destination that actually suits you, you can also want to give it a try. Now, do I need transcript evaluation as an international student? Now, it depends on the country and the institution. Always check, read through. So like I said, this is going to take your time. You need to do a lot of research, reading through websites and all of that. So Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, France, Finland, most public universities in these countries do not require external evaluation services. Instead, they assess your transcript in-house during the application review. Okay, the access is in-house. So when might evaluation be needed? If your documents are unclear or they are in a non-European language, okay, that's when you need evaluation. If you are applying to private universities or program with international partnership, if explicitly required in application instruction. So there are some that are explicit. I remember when I was applying for a scholarship, Mandela Road scholarship in South Africa, within Africa, asked me to actually do West evaluation. I did transcript evaluation, and it cost me about some amount of dollars in rands. Okay, and it's interesting how these things can actually be. Okay, so just prepare your mind for that. So what do? Always check the admission page of each university. If no mention is made of needing a credential evaluation service like West, it's usually not required. So check, read through, ask questions as much as possible. Now let's go to some specific in terms of country specific. Germany, how to apply. So I have put this thing here. I don't have much time now. I'll be ending. I have put this thing here in terms of country specific, and I'll be sharing this. Like I said, what are the things you need to do? What are the requirements? What is needed? And what are some of the scholarships? The next slide for Germany is Germany funding opportunities. So the first slide is to introduce the country in terms of what is needed and all of that. The next slide will be the funding opportunities available. That scholarship for masters and PhD, university-specific funding, research assistant position, the high Y available for PhD students, no tuition fee, only semester contribution for Germany. Now, the next one is Netherlands. Again, just to give a brief on how to apply to Netherlands, and then what are some of the funding opportunities in Netherlands? You have the Orange Tulip Scholarship. You have the Holland Scholarship for non-EEA students. You have university-specific scholarship. Read through the university website, you get this. And PhDs are paid positions. So for Netherlands, when you apply for a PhD program, you are not a student, you are an employee. They give you an employment, it's a paid position. So you are paid to carry out a PhD research in Netherlands. All right, interesting, right? You are paid to carry out a PhD research in Netherlands. So these are opportunities that you need to also look out for in Europe. In Sweden, also how to apply to Swedish university for these opportunities. And then funding opportunities available. We have the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. You have university-specific scholarship, and PhDs are also salaried positions with benefits. It's doing me now that I should relocate, or try to relocate to Sweden or something. Because here in the UK, it's not like that. In UK, if you're a PhD student, you are a student, except in rare occasions like myself, where I get like a graduate assistant position on the side of it, such that I teach with the university and then I do my PhD program. So they pay for the PhD and then they give you monthly salary or monthly stipend. But in this country, it's like you are a salaried position. It's more like you are working, you are not a student. Okay. And then France, how to apply also. And lastly, what are some of the funding opportunities? So Google, put all of these scholarship or funding opportunities on Google and read about them. They will interest you to know that you actually get a lot, and most of us are eligible for this stuff. Give it a shot, okay? Give it a shot, and you'll be surprised at what the response would be. Italy, also how to apply, and then lastly, the funding opportunities that are available in Italy. Funded PhD positions. You have the monthly salary for PhD students of about 1,000 to 1,500 euros. All right, for PhD students. So imagine receiving this particular amount of money. Okay. Then, are there graduate teaching assistant or graduate research assistant position like in the US? For some countries, yes. It's depending on country. Like Germany, yes. Okay. Netherlands, PhD students are employed by the university. France and Belgium, PhDs often come with a work contract tied to research and teaching. Okay, so you need to look at all of these things. And if you have any further question, like I said, please do all to reach out to me. You can connect via LinkedIn. That QR code, if you scan it, it takes you to my LinkedIn page for us to connect via LinkedIn. And you can also send any email, or that's if you are joining and you don't have my number to chat me up directly. You can also send me an email there to that official email there, and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so sorry the time. There's just a lot to cover within that short time. Thank you so much, and God bless. Over to you, sir. Rabayami.
Well, thank you so much, bro Bright. It was loaded. It was so loaded. I didn't want it to stop anymore, if not for the fact that our time is already way gone. Everybody had extreme level of value for their time. And then somebody here right now, because my wife is fully interested in many of the things she's saying, she's wondering why we were hurrying you. We should just give you 3 hours, but then we have to stop. Um, at this very point, we will entertain a few questions. Our speaker is still on ground to answer all of our questions. So please, time for questions. Are there things you want to ask? Are there things you want to also contribute to add? This is the time, but just make it snappy. You can unmute your mic if you have something to say.
All right, if there's any question, I'm actually available to. And I just saw someone in the chat saying, wow, one can apply for a PhD program in the United States with just a bachelor's degree. Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, and yes. I have loads of people who are currently in that. And if you want me, I can guide you, I can connect you to them. Loads of my friends in the US who went there currently on a PhD program, and they only have a bachelor's degree. So yes. Any other question? Yes, the slide, and that
Yeah.
question in the comments
Okay.
says the slide. Yes, the slide will be shared. I will share the slide with Bayomi and the senior friends executive, and it will be shared. Yes, it will be shared.
Yeah, the entire video, the entire webinar will be shared too. Don't worry. I also have a question, or maybe a plea. Can brethren reach out to you directly to guide them on what and what to do? Because there are people who have, several people have reached to me privately to ask for connections on how to reach our brethren who can help them abroad. So a lot of them went abroad, but really did not know how to help others to go. So can we refer brethren to you for direct assistance, whether it is the paid or self-sponsored studies or scholarships and the rest of them? Are we free to do that?
Sure, definitely, sir. Definitely. At least I think I got one brother that was referred from you, that chatted me up some weeks back, and we've been in contact since then. Yes, so definitely, it's fine. I am more than happy to help as much as possible. Yes, sir.
Okay, then my question. I know somebody who's interested in the Scandinavian countries, particularly Finland. You were saying something about it, but you were Russian. Can you say a little about Finland's application and opportunities available for those want to school in Finland?
Okay, so I'll go back to my page on Finland. So for Finland application, it's like I made mention of, there are loads of scholarship opportunities by universities that one can actually access. I would be dropping, I can send you a list of, or some links that you can share with that person that can actually help the person to access those information on scholarship opportunities within Finland. I think I made mention that Finland is one of those countries that have the best educational system. So it has loads of stuff, and if you have good academic standing, good academic grounding, you there's loads of opportunities out there for you. Most of these countries are looking out for people to come and carry out research in their countries. Most of their people are not actually willing, and this is the truth. Most of their people are not willing to go on to further studies and research. Whenever I encounter people outside of university, my normal day-to-day life, and then, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a researcher at this university. Oh, you're doing a PhD. Why are you doing it? What on earth would make you to go and do a PhD? That's the question they'll be asking you. They are not just interested. So for Finland, like I said, look at the universities. Theirs is basically by the universities. University have loads of funding for you. So look at the universities. Like I said, I'll also be sharing those links with you, sir, so that you can share with the person. Look at the university, best way to do at universities, and look at the requirements. So you may be required to actually go through, for Finland also, you may be required to actually take some language tests, or you may be required to actually learn some language stuff. So those are also some of the things that one would be preparing their mind towards. Okay, but basic requirements are the things that I've actually stated before now, which are the documentations and all of that. So yeah, I'll be more than happy to help in order to guide this person in this aspect. And like I said, if the person now wants to get into it in terms of fully, whenever they are ready and they have all their documentations ready, they can do well to reach out to me.
Okay. If there's any other one, I don't know if there are questions by text, so we can wrap things up.
I'm looking
Is
at
there
the
another
chat.
question typed in?
There's none. I can't see anyone in the chat. Just thank yous, thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, we were sorry we have exceeded our time, but it was worth it all the same. Supposed to stop by 10 o'clock as we
Yeah.
initially agreed.
My,
Sorry, 9 o'clock. But there was still a lot of value that our speaker was churning out, and we just had to allow him finish because it was for our benefits. We were the ones that need the information. So at this point, I want to say a very big thank you to our dear speaker and facilitator, Bill Bright, um, who's Maka. Um, I think Brother Bright, who's Maka Nduka. Thank you so much for all of this. I think we knew in Uniben that year. I was rounding off himself, Brother Kingsley, Brother Sochima, and a lot of them. They're a wonderful set. And since then, they've been doing so well all through. Thank you so much for taking our time to speak with us today. We are very grateful. To everybody who took part, there are several persons who left because of their poor networks. Many people said we should rather use chats and voice notes, but this is by far more official. This is more effective for facilitator, and also we can record these webinars and put the videos on our YouTube channel. For information, we just created a YouTube channel for the forum, and then we're going to upload these videos from time to time there. So it's going to be better for us. Let's get used to this system and it will profit us. We're going to be having another one next 2 weeks. It's going to be on how to secure job opportunities, this time both Nigeria and abroad. And then we'll bring a speaker for that too. Just stay on board. We have so much for every member of the forum to benefit from. But at this point, I want to say a very big thank you to Brother Bright. We're not leaving you yet. We are just finishing this seminar, but we still have to reach out to you privately for further assistance. Thank you so much for the time. Thanks to everybody that took part. We are grateful. Let's just pray. Father, thank you for tonight's session. Thank you for the loads of value that have been given to us. Thank you, Father, for the inspiration and the wisdom you give to our speaker. And thank you for the patience on the part of the listeners. We give you all the praise in the name of Jesus. We're asking, Father, um, people who are particularly interested in traveling abroad are here by reason of what I received today. We ask that you hasten the actualization of their dreams in the name of Jesus. We ask for wisdom, we ask for discretion, we ask for strength and every enablement to put these things to practice wherever we have to and achieve all that we need to achieve along this line and even beyond. Take all the praise. We ask that you bless all the members of this full forum in all of their endeavors, whether they're into politics, they're into the academics, they are into one aspect of the other. Every member of this forum, we ask that increase them on all sides and let it be testimonies galore. Take all the praise. Finally, for our speaker, we ask that you bless the works of his hand, you increase him in every aspect. His family, we ask, Lord, that your blessings rest upon him and everything that concerns him. Thank you, Father, for hearing us. In Jesus' mighty name.